Good evening, everyone. I welcome you all to this TechCast series brought to you by the open source community. Welcome to this exciting event. And actually, open source community brings to you a series of podcast sessions based on different technical topics which are trending across the globe. So, we are open and we welcome all the tech enthusiasts, all the open source advocates. I welcome you all again to this TechCast and I'm thrilled to stand before you today as we embark on an exhilarating journey into the world of open source technology. One of the most remarkable aspects of TechCast is our commitment to diversity and global collaboration. Our virtual stage will be graced by a multitude of brilliant minds from every corner of the globe. These visionary speakers will share their expertise, experiences, and passion for open source technology, fostering a vibrant exchange of ideas that transcends geographical boundaries. Now, I would like to welcome our guest today, Miss Prathima Kadari, currently serving as the Chief Technical Officer at Micro, a leading fintech platform. They are at the forefront of driving innovation and technology. But their contributions don't stop here. As a tech evangelist, they have been actively involved in various open source programs as a project admin and mentor, leading and guiding numerous talented minds in the community. Their commitment to mentoring extends to other areas as they have been recognized as the Best Mentor of the Year nominee at Women Tech Global Awards and served as a jury member for Global Setup Awards Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce you to Dr. Pratima Kadari, a visionary tech evangelist who is reshaping the landscape of technology and mentoring the leaders of tomorrow. Let's give her a warm welcome. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Apurva, for the invitation and Harik Chandana as well. First of all, good evening, everyone. So, I'm glad to be here in sharing my wisdom I had gained over my expertise. Before I get along with the topic, I'll share out to my screen first. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Cool. Okay. I'm Pratima Kadari, CTO and co-founder of Pendler and a data science mentor. So today I'll be speaking on the topic how to build and embrace your data science career. I guess some of you have already had a slight hint about what this topic is and through the current trends that's been evolving right now. And this session will actually help you in reaching your goals faster while understanding the overall process and roadmap one needs to see yourself in a data science role or as an aspiring data science professional. So let's go to the first slide. So our topics agenda today for us is basically we start out with an overview. We demonstrate out to the understanding of data science, the data science life cycle, the techniques we follow out to overcome all the processes that we need to do in end-to-end implementations, and reach out your practical exposure and elevating your profile very much stronger to stand out from the crowd. And finally, the networking. So coming to data science. Before I give out a short, simple overview of what data science is, let me give you a kind of a technical terminology so that you understand how it is being derived from. So it's basically a domain, a platform from where it is emerging out to be a growth catalyst for several sectors over the period of time. So it has enhanced the business operations and helped the organizations make use of datasets for better decision making. So we have engrossed high demand for growth opportunities and also the promising career aspects in the data science. So it has become an essential tool to tackle the real world problems right now in the various sectors such as entertainment, retail, finance, healthcare, transportation, manufacturing, and various other different domains. So this has been evolved from including the analytics to performing the statistics and also empowering the decisions. And this basically helps out to evaluate the actions and predictions. So it completes out the overall performer of capabilities to analyze and affect the future outcomes from the past data. So that is basically a kind of a technical definition, but coming to the terminology that I make to use and to elaborate it in pretty simple terms, it's basically dealing everything with data so that we understand and gain out with the better decision aspects and implement out into the business technologies. And we use out with the modern technologies and tools to grasp out to the unseen patterns and to bring out the meaningful information and make sure that the whatever the algorithms that you go to it gives out the approximate accuracy. So as the accuracy is more inclined towards the kind of performance and effectiveness it brings out to the models. So what do we need for that? So basically there are few set of prerequisites. So first starting, as you all know, being a particular developer or getting into any kind of a development domain, we obviously have to start with a programming language. So it can be anything. So here coming to data science, we go with either Python or R. And the most probably used out to the programming language is going to be the Python because that is quite beginner friendly, but it has a kind of exploration with R as well when you move into data analysis. And coming to statistics, it generally expects you to have a kind of a mathematical knowledge that you might have already been involved yourself into your curriculum through your BTech structure or whatever the domain you belong to. And this basically involves out to the deeper insights of the linear algebra and statistics. That is basically a core concept through which we derive out with all the complex operations in data analysis and data modeling. Then we get out with the basic foundations of machine learning. So machine learning basically gives out with how you can derive it out, how you can search it out, certify it out, and make sure you give out the complete end-to-end aspects and give out the derivative information from that. So it basically depends upon the kind of algorithms that you go with so that the problem statement relies from how you basically generate out to the respective data set. And modeling is basically to pre-incline out all the modeling process. So you can go out with the kind of formatting of complete end-to-end process from analysis, visualization. That's how you generally get to know what are the kind of categorical columns, what are the kind of data sets. You basically use it out through the complete end-to-end scheduling process. And finally, the database, because obviously you generally have to get a kind of a backup for whatever the data you're going to use it out throughout the tenure. And this data set or database will be helpful to give out to the backend storage solution and also with the kind of information that will help you to generate the or read out to the existing data through the tools we generally use it out throughout the complete scheduling process. So coming to the career options. So we have a various career options here. So let's start with the analysis process because it basically gives out with the a simple kind of understanding with the programming language, the SQL, and also with the basic understanding to the visualization and analysis tools. So this basically gives out with the complete focus put into the business aspect. So whether it's a data analyst or business analyst. So only difference that lies between those is like data analysis focuses completely onto the data and do out to the respective analysis. And business analysis basically gets out with how you implement the business decisions according to the outcomes you get out of the analysis process. And data scientist is basically a kind of a complete ocean, you have to say, because it involves multiple kind of inclusions. You need to know it out as a part of the uh, role that it expects out to be. And you generally deal with multiple kind of end-to-end process. So coming from the analysis, visualization, programming language, SQL database, and also with the multiple core machine learning or deep learning methodologies. And we also have a kind of a separate domain as well that for each and every specific stream, according to whatever the stream that you're going with, whether it's a machine learning or deep learning, computer vision, natural language processing. I know it might be seeming kind of the things that you're not quite familiar with, but once you get to understand out the complete roadmap and the life cycle, you'll be able to give out a better decision making on what's going to be the right profile for you to get along with the process. And finally, the data engineer. Here in data engineer, whatever the kind of topics that we have previously discussed with the other kind of career options that we had prescribed before. Along with that, it also ensures that you have a kind of a cloud computing knowledge as well, so that it basically maintained out in a production level basis. So coming to the data science. So how do you generally understand the data science? So here we understand it in four different ways. So these are kind of four types to basically understand a data science to basically give out a kind of a complete conclusion that this is how you distribute it out. So coming to descriptive analysis, diagnostic analysis, predictive and prescriptive analysis. So descriptive analysis is basically like doing out with the description, like using out to the analytical or visualization tools, like applying out to the pie charts, bar charts, and all the kind of generated narratives as well. So that it basically gives out to reveal the information. For example, if you go with a flight booking or whatever it is, gives out with the revealing information out to the high performance and where the kind of a tenure or where's the kind of the peak timings or peak kind of scheduling hours have been opting for, and when is the kind of a time the people generally go out to the booking process. So that is the kind of a max and minimum kind of an hours. So it generally gives out to end-to-end information when you get into this kind of an analysis of descriptive. And getting into the diagnostic analysis is basically like getting much deeper with it with respect to the data warehousing and data mining, and bringing out to the all the kind of inclusional concepts into it. Something like performing out to the data operations to understand how the particular techniques have been followed into it and how it is being discovered. So here we basically deal out with the city. So for example, if you go with a city, it basically asks you out to kind of go with any kind of subscription, or you're going with any kind of a booking model for sporting events. So over there, you need to understand the unique patterns to see how it's performing out at the back end. So here it is basically like complete back end process, because here we don't deal with the direct communication with the customers or the clients who are using out to the respective modeling process. And coming to the prediction is basically like a customer retention or the retail recommendation system to understand what is the kind of a behavioral mindset of the users and people, and generally use out to the respective prediction process. And this basically also matters out according to the kind of algorithms or according to the kind of optimization techniques you use, so that it gives out to the efficient accuracy. So the more the accuracy is closer to it, the more relevant performance it generally gives out as the complete end-to-end result. So here we need to kind of put out to the complete focus onto the data. So the more defined, the more customized the data is, to be helpful for you to understand how you generally can predict out to the respective model. And coming to the prescriptive analysis, so here in prescriptive analysis, we generally go with a different kind of a recommendation process. Here we generally use out to the neural networks and all the graphical complex operations here, so that we don't have to kind of rely on to the machine learning thing. So here we generally get completely deep. So it is basically like when you get with the unknown data set, you don't know how you generally use it out into the respective terminology. So you just have to accept out with how it is, and ensure that the machine trains it out for you and gives out to the better results. And as I told, the data science is quite very vast, so it is divided into multiple topics. So starting from mathematics and statistics, SQL, data analysis, visualization, machine learning, and various other cloud computing and Internet of Things. And recently we got to introduce out to the other additional topic as well, that is quantum computing. So that is also being quite more useful into the AI-based intelligence services. So coming to the tools, as we had discussed out previously, anything, whatever it is, we start with a programming language. So it's either Python or R. And along with that, we also have the SQL. So SQL can be any database, whether it's a MongoDB SQL, whether it's a PostgreSQL, whether it's my SQL or NoSQL. So whatever it is, it generally kind of a database that acts as into the complete coding process. And coming to the libraries, there are various set of libraries that is being developed by the Python developers community. So you generally tend to see out to the various libraries according to the operation that you would like to perform. So it's not that you need to stick out with a single particular library. So there are nearly 10,000 plus libraries, to be honest. So the more you explore, the more you get deeper into the concepts, you'll be able to understand of what are the kind of libraries you basically need to use it out for that respective kind of a problem statement that you're working upon, to ensure that particular target is being achieved by the problem statement. And coming to visualization tools, we have Power BI, we have Tableau, we have Matplotlib as well. So Matplotlib is something like a way to plot out to all the particular categorical columns that you have in a data set, whether it's an unknown data set or a known data set. It's basically helpful to get out or gather out to the insights to see how well the data can be refined. And Power BI and Tableau is basically a kind of visualization tool. So here, this is basically like a separate kind of a software that we generally use it out to give out to the better presentation format, and also the kind of skills that you need to communicate it out to the clients. So Matplotlib is a kind of a part of the process that you involve it out into the modeling process itself. So it's not something like a kind of an additional software that you're using it out. So it's basically a kind of a day-to-day kind of a thing that you need to do it out for any kind of visualization plugins. And coming to the cloud computing platforms, we have various cloud computing platforms, but the main popular ones being AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. So these are kind of basic things, but other than that, we also kind of require the non-technical skills into this particular domain as well. Like communication is very important. The way you have a kind of a effective decision making, the way you could kind of manipulate out to the data, and how well you are able to convey out the information. So presentation skills are equally important. So it's basically a way to see how well you could deliver whatever that you had achieved out through the modeling process. Okay. So next coming is the life cycle. So when you see out to the life cycle, it generally defines the complete end-to-end process. So starting from, you need to collect the data, then polish the data, explore the data, model the data, and interpret the results. So here what happens is basically something like where if you take some kind of a problem statement here, so you don't know like what's the kind of a thing that generally client or the stakeholders expect from you to do so. So unless you need to be able to figure it out, even though it is a known data set or unknown data set, the way you figure it out basically plays a major and vital part of a role that you'll be able to bring out to the complete implementation process to be successful. So obviously, I have to be honest here that 70% of your work lies completely with the data processing. So unless the data is not absolutely up to the mark, you won't, whatever model you do, it won't be giving out to the better optimized results. So this is the first and foremost step that you need to go with in the life cycle, that is the collecting the data. So sometimes we generally do get out to the data sets that's already available onto the online resources or onto the efficient government based organizations, or either you need to get it out from the kind of organization that you're working with. But other than that, there mostly you need to kind of explore out to the unknown data set as well if you don't have any kind of a data. So that's how you basically need to gather it out and make sure the data is whatever is being needed according to the problem statement is being collected. Then we go on with the polishing the data. So right now, when you already have a data, it's basically like applying the customer relation management kind of a process here. You generally have to deal with the data management here. We have to see if there are any kind of a null values that exist into it, if there are any kind of a values that are of special characters or symbols which is not readable by the modeling process. So for that, you need to make it into a completely kind of a readable format and ensure that there are no such duplicates, no such kind of inclusions or the values that are not required for the problem statement. So it basically, when you have a multiple kind of things into the single problem statement, which is not relevant to whatever that you are working upon, so it will basically affect out to the performance and accuracy. So the more curated and more refined your data is, the more accordingly you'll be able to give out to the best results for the complete process. Next, coming to that is the explore the data. So here exploring out the data. So once you have already done out to all the polishing mechanism to make sure the data set is appropriate, we generally go with the explore data. So here in exploring the data, we do out to the analysis. So in this, we generally explore out to the complete um, end-to-end kind of thing. So here we generally do out the analysis. So once you already have completed out to the overall data set that is readily applied, then you generally check out to each and every particular categorical column to see what are the things that we generally require it. So what are the things will be useful for us. So accordingly, you'll be categorizing out into multiple columns, whether it's into two parts or whether it's into two to three columns or anything. So, and you generally compare it out to see the kind of things that you grab from that, the kind of insights that you can get it. So, based on that, you generally know how it is relatable to each other. Something like if you are working on to any problem statement that is respect to the vehicles, so it generally has distance, it generally has speed, time, it generally has the location where the particular vehicle has been spotted. So well, you just have to see how well it can be relating to each other. So the relational analysis is very important when you do exploration of data. So based on that, you'll be getting out the insights through analysis, and that analysis insights, whatever that you get it, you put it out into the visualization tools or through the matplotlib to see out to the kind of charting process and how to kind of the difference that make according to the decisions that you give out to the implementation of the corporate society. Now comes the modeling the data. So coming to modeling the data, we generally don't have to uh, put much more kind of stress into that. But once this particular first three steps have already been done, you'll be completely assured of what is the kind of a goal that you have, what's the kind of a thing that you need to focus upon. So here in modeling data, you just can use out to any particular algorithms according to the problem statement, whether it's a supervised learning or unsupervised learning. Or it's a reinforcement learning. So these three are the kind of learnings that we have in a data science analysis. So supervised learning is like a known data set when you already have a data set readily available, which is completely organized and to be used directly. So that is called a supervised learning. And coming to unsupervised learning, here we generally have a kind of a data set that is not completely polished, so that you have to polish it out, you have to make it refined, you need to do a lot of changes, you need to keep it completely organized so that it is readable, along with ensuring that there are no kind of debugging backends that's happening out into the data set. And along with that, you also have to ensure that if at all you don't have any kind of a data set, or if there is any kind of categorical column that you need that is not included in the data set, you need to kind of extract the data or do some kind of a web scraping to gather the data and push it out into the respective format of the files that you push the data into the data set. So here the dataset files can be in multiple formats, either it can be used in Excel format or the CSV format or any other such formats. You generally, it's basically like a readable formats people use out to so that it is basically pushed out directly or read out directly to the modeling process. And coming to interpreting the results, so once you have already modeled out data, you basically tend to see the kind of accuracy score you get. You tend to see the kind of optimized value you get, the ROC score, that the net value, whatever it is, the kind of thing that you have implied it according to that. So you basically know what's the kind of algorithm or what's the kind of a particular modeling analysis has given out a better efficient results. So if you particular few particular algorithms basically includes like a decision tree, random forest, or any other kind of the yeah, gradient boosting algorithm, there are bagging algorithm. So multiple algorithms are there. According to the requirement, we basically need. So we just have to choose out to the data set properly. We have to polish the data. We have to explore the data, see, gather out to the insights, model the data, use the right algorithm according to the problem statement, and then display out the results. So here when you display out the results, you can either display it out directly in form of a textual format, or also you can depict it out in a visualization tools like a Power BI or Tableau. Coming to data science techniques. Okay, here there are various kind of data science techniques, to be honest, but we are going with the three most important data science techniques because it's a kind of complete process. So once you get to know these three things, you'll be able to understand the difference between the supervised and unsupervised learning as well. So here you basically, yeah, so to coming to classification, it's like they have a kind of a two set classification or a multi-set classification. So if coming to two set classification is, for example, if you have a dog and class classification, so dogs and cats is like completely a different breed. So when you kind of include output images into it, so you basically know what is a dog and what is a cat, but you don't have to, you basically know it, but you need to teach out to the machine. So that is basically by using out the known data set. So here in classification algorithm, we have two kind of cases. Either it's a two-case classification or a multi-case classification. So multi-case classification can be anything. Like if you are including out to the multiple objects, like some kind of objects that are not plastic friendly or something. So those things gets into the detailed inclusion of multi classification. So it basically trains out to the data according to the images. And here, when you're dealing with the image kind of classification, you need to have a good set of data set. So it basically requires multiple images that will help in understanding the machine learn better. And coming to regression is basically like the unknown kind of a data set which doesn't have any kind of a specific purpose to it. So here you need to understand the purpose. So according to the categorical columns, according to the inclusions, according to the issues that you have in a data set, you need to classify it. So when you go into the unknown data set, it's basically called as a regression. So here in regression is basically depicted using the visualization tools like scatter plot or the kind of a point based kind of a analysis. So here as you know, it is all scattered here and there, and it is not in an aligned process, and the data set is not organized, so you won't be able to apply it properly into it. And finally, coming to the clustering process. So clustering is like grouping it out. So it's basically like, generic how what cluster means. It's basically like grouping it. So here you have to group out. You can group out to the multiple categorical columns into one. So that yes, so this belongs to a single category. For example, if you have vehicles, or if you have yeah, for example, in vehicles, if you have cars, so all the car models will be coming under one particular cluster, and second car model will be coming under next cluster. So it generally differentiates according to the particular group it belongs to by applying these clustering based algorithms. So these are a kind of algorithms, but into that we have multiple algorithms we generally use it out. So this is a way to distribute the algorithms to be precise. So, how you generally enrich your practical exposure? So, first of all, whatever it is, even though how much ever you learn and how much ever you explore it out, or how much ever you go to multiple course curriculums or multiple videos to understand out the overall data science domain, the more you practice, the more you gain out to the exposure. First and most important thing that will be ultimately helpful for you is to contribute to open source. There are multiple kind of projects that's been already available in GitHub or any other open source platforms, or any kind of open source programs that runs throughout the specific or the, various kind of college communities. So you just have to participate. That it's not that you're going to do the best. It's not that you're going to kind of give out to the whatever that's being asked for in a very first thing. But the more you practice, the more you get involved into such kind of open source projects or programs, it will be very useful for you, because that is going to be the real world problem statements that will be solving it out, and just not like a regular kind of common questions or the common kind of problem statement that arises out around. So you can find out to the respective issues in GitHub. You can go out to the kind of open source programs where there are multiple kind of communities that's already available. They are coming out with the 1 month or 2 month kind of programs. You can just get into it and explore it out to see how much well you can do it out. And next coming to is a project-based program. So there are multiple project-based programs to be exactly coming. Yeah, you can just focus on the unique-based projects, social good projects, because that's how makes kind of stand out your resume as well. So that will also add weightage to your portfolio. So coming to this kind of project-based programs, there are multiple communities that do so. You can, else you can just apply for a single project-based thing, whether it's a paid or unpaid, that doesn't matter. All you need is some experience and exposure from it. For example, you can also have this particular committee called Omdenga as well. So in Omdenga, they generally kind of give out to the multiple projects which you can apply it out according to the particular local region it belongs to. So if there is any particular region which has any certain problem that needs to be solved, they generally put out that particular problem statement as a project for everyone to collaborate across the world. So that will be a kind of a way to expose out to the diversity and also get to learn from your fellow peers as well, to understand how the particular process of end-to-end application works. Next, you can also participate in hackathons and challenges as well. So you have multiple hackathons and challenges that's ongoing in various particular websites, whether it's a dev post or whether it's a dev folio, whatever it is. So there are quite challenges. So there are also kind of separate particular community challenges specifically for the data science. So that will really help you to understand where you are standing right now and also improve yourself. And you should this is how you basically come out from your comfort zone. So it doesn't kind of happen that you generally go out with the regular problem statements and you feel yes you are done, but because the kind of a complete complete what the working process in corporate world is completely different from how you do just a kind of basic projects. So when you work with the real world problem statements, you will understand how you can emphasize it deeper and make sure it is kind of validated and productionized level as well. So you'll be able to learn how to give coding practices as well that you need to use it out at a later stage. And you should never start that you need to kind of completely learn how to all the end-to-end topics, and then you need to get into the practical exposure, but you generally have to follow with do while learn kind of a thing, so that you parallelly learn it out and implement it directly. So the more you explore it out, the more you'll be able to debug your own particular mistakes. So whatever that you had done with, you can ask out to the questions or queries and to understand it deeper. And there are also multiple kind of what say community based uh, platforms from where you can ask out to the queries as well. So that will really help you. And as I told, it is never a kind of a 1 month or a 2 month thing that you be completely proficient in data science. You need to be continuously working around the clock. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's with the practical exposure. And coming to how to make your profile stronger, you basically need to be very much concise and informative and more relevant to whatever the kind of a job profile you're applying for. The more relevant, the more inclusional information should be needed. So, and it should be put more focus into the kind of a profile summary, like the kind of a particular things that you've already been involved with previously, the things you have been got into, something like internship or projects, the kind of personal projects that you have developed, or some kind of the some kind of the projects that will basically help you to showcase your skills. So you need to include out to your either your GitHub profile or a LinkedIn profile, what through the respective deployed links as well, so that it generally gives out to the validated information. Yes, that you have a kind of a respect amount of proficiency into it, and they can also kind of cry out to your particular projects that you had developed. So the deployment process is also equally important as much as you learn how to do complete data science categorical concepts. So, and also you should also start doing out with internships from the very first or very first or second year might be, because that is how you generally tend to get the experience. And right now it's all the kind of a complete fierceful competition going on. The more you get experience, the more you will be able to understand how you do out with all the implementations, and give out to the complete what is a strong portfolio at the end. So the more stronger your profile is, the more stronger it is. It will be basically helpful in using how well your particular resume will be standing out from the crowd. And finally, this is the one particular thing like many people neglect it out, so they generally don't put out this kind of focus into the networking part. So how much ever you learn, how much ever you are explored, how much ever you have done out to the complete overall end-to-end thing, how much ever you have made out your profile very much stronger, the networking is really important. You can kind of socialize with the like-minded people who are into the same kind of a domain. You also have various particular for various particular communities or various particular hubs where the knowledges are being shared. You can just save out to the respective knowledges. You can just practice it out from your end, and then you need to kind of give out to the understanding of the best practices. So that's how. So the more you get collaborative, the more you get informative with the people and everything. So you'll be able to know of the kind of opportunities that's been available in the market, and also understand the kind of current changes or trends that's been happening in the market. And you can also, when you kind of develop a product or when you kind of develop a project, you can obviously share it out to the people to see, to share out to your innovation and ideas, and also get out the feedback, because feedback is really important, like a way you can shape yourself into a better person. And the more you engage with your community, you'll be able to understand the kind of things that you're lagging with, the kind of things that you can learn from the fellow community members as well. So that will be like a group kind of a study that will be helpful in what you say, motivating yourself. That yes, because obviously when you study for kind of a single based kind of a scenario, you will not be able to put in as focus as you when you study in a group. So that will really help you out. And everyone has their own perspective, so not everyone will be getting out to multiple perspectives. So even other particular perspective will also help you out in your career journey. And finally, you shouldn't expect how to interact with the professional experts for any particular questions or queries, because that will really help you to clear out to the doubts pretty instantly, like rather than expecting that okay, this is the only thing that we have already kind of done it, but okay, it's not kind of much important. But it's not that kind of a case. Each and every particular topic, each and every particular thing is really important. The more you interact, the more you learn, the more you gain out to the knowledge needed, that you put it out into the respective job career or into the projects or whatever the thing you're building out from your end. Yeah, so along with that, before I kind of conclude it, I wanted to tell one particular thing is like you generally ensure that you do out with the complete end-to-end process. And the more deeper you wanted to know anything, whatever that you wanted to ask out to me, you can just connect with me through socials. And the here, as I told you, the data science is basically like a journey of it's basically like a complete journey. So it generally takes at least 4 to 5 years minimum to be at least a kind of a beginner level or an advanced, not advanced, but intermediate level. So it's really a kind of complete thing that you need to do it. And the more you learn, the more you explore, the more you'll be getting access to the multiple opportunities as well. And that will basically help you in your successful career. Thank you once again for the inviting out to this particular open source community. And I didn't go much deeper with the particular data science um building prospect, but this is what all the kind of basic things that you generally require it out to the initial start basis. Because as people are into a college, I don't want it to make you overwhelmed by adding out much more information which is not needed right now. So once you get through out all these particular tips and hacks that I had mentioned it right now, it will be a kind of a basic, good journey to start out with the data science career, and that is going to really help you out, and the sooner the better. So thank you so much.
Pratima, there are a few questions from the audience. Will you like
Yeah.
to take them?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the first question goes like, um, can you explain what is the difference between data analytics and data science?
Okay, yeah. Okay, coming to data analytics, it doesn't go much deeper into the data science. So first thing you need to know is the Python. Next is you need to know any particular database language. So that is either SQL, MySQL, or NoSQL. Then you need to know how to the data analysis, data visualization. So data analysis is like kind of a libraries that you use to gather the insights. Data visualization are the tools that you generally apply it out to bring out to the complete difference between them. And then a basic foundational of machine learning. So when you get into a data science domain, data analyst domain, you basically don't need to have much deep end-to-end knowledge on the techniques on the data science algorithms, deep learning, and all those things. So it's just some kind of enough that you need to be able to understand out to the business practices and put out the understanding into the implementation process, so that yes, whatever decision that you make is going to benefit the organization that you work with. So this is the only thing that is kind of a way you highlight yourself as a data analyst. But coming to data scientist, along with this, we also include the modeling process. So modeling process coming to machine learning or deep learning. So these are the kind of two basic streams that are quite widely used in data science, because it generally focus more into the modeling process rather than into the analysis part. So analysis part is important. Data exploration is important, but still the visualization where is not much being highlighted over the data scientist profile. And along with that, you need to have a kind of a foundational knowledge onto the cloud computing as well, so that you'll be able to productionize whatever product that you build it out from your end.
Thanks, Pratima. That clarifies the question.
Yeah.
Another question. They're asking that how is data modeling different from database design?
Data modeling is different from database design. Okay. Okay. So data modeling is basically implying out to the algorithms, so that you get out to the performing the optimization, hyperparameter tuning, or accuracy, whatever that you get it through data modeling. So here you're applying the algorithms to understand the modeling process and implement it out according to the problem statement that you have taken into consideration. So whether it is a classification model, a regression model, or a clustering model, or whether it is a supervised learning, unsupervised learning, or reinforcement learning. So based on that, you generally apply out with the modeling processes and algorithms into it. And coming to the database management, this is basically a database kind of something like a backend storage solution. So you might have already heard in a web development, you have a front end, you have backend. So backend is basically like a server which has the access to all the data that you are working in the front end. Similarly, here also we do have a database management where you generally get to have the backend process. So this backend is basically where it includes out to all the relevant data, which is acts as a backup and also can be used whenever you wanted to call it out into the modeling process. So for the database thing, we generally go with the SQL based inclusion. So SQL, it can be anything. It can be MySQL or NoSQL or PostgreSQL. So these are the kind of a three common database management systems like people use it out. But on to the beginner friendly basis, many people prefer out to MySQL.
Thanks, Pratima, for answering the question. Now
Yeah,
I'll hand over it to Apurva.
yeah, sure.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. We actually appreciate that you took out time from the busy schedule and spent your precious time with us.
Yeah, thank
The
you.
session was really informative, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for
Yeah,
joining us. We are
yeah,
looking
thank
forward
you.
for further engagement.
Yeah,
Thank
sure.
you so much,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so we are back again. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all to another episode of TechCast brought to you by the open source community. TechCast is the series of technical podcasts where we talk everything about open source technology. So, without a further ado, let me just welcome our next guest. So, it is my great pleasure to introduce Soham Shah, a brilliant computer science undergraduate whose passion for technology and unwavering dedication have left a profound impact on the world around him. He is currently a software engineer at Maven. Soham's fervent love for web technology, software development, and machine learning has driven him to be a problem solver extraordinaire. He finds joy in creating valuable solutions that contribute positively to the world. For him, computer science is not merely a subject, but a hobby, a sport, and a means to efficiently address real world challenges. As a hardworking and fast learning individual, Soham embodies the spirit of a true geeky and passionate programmer. His determination to merge his love for programming into his future software development career and research is truly inspiring. Beyond his academic pursuits, Soham has actively contributed to the tech community. He has hosted and organized various workshops, meetups, and talks focused on technology and development. One notable event was his official Hacktoberfest meetup, where he shared hands-on knowledge about open source with the participants. And today we have him here with a session focused on everything in and out of open source and software engineering. So we welcome you, sir, and over to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi everyone, good evening. Uh, yeah, so glad to be here. Thanks Apurva and the whole OSC VIT team for having me here. So yeah, I hope you folks are very excited to learn about open source, like understand the depth of it, and overall software engineering. I assume everyone is currently budding into a software engineer into the tech field, and as students, being aware is one of the most important uh, part of the whole journey, right? So yeah, can you just affirm if my voice and video is clear and visible?
Yes, Soham.
Yeah, it's
Your video are clear.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so one great thing that today we are like a closed group environment, right? So feel free to like pause me anytime you have some doubt, some curiosity, something pops in your mind. Let's brainstorm, discuss, and find solution to that. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sharing my screen for for this discussion. Is my presentation visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Wide and clear, right? So, so yeah, what we are going to discuss today is like, let me get to it in very quick. We are going to talk about what is open source. So the reason to know open source is what you are going to get from this particular session and discussion today. Why to be worried and be like care about open source, right? We know open source, we hear this word a million times on internet, but why should I care? how to do open source and how it is going to affect my career, my life, and my tech journey. And in the end, how it is going to impact the lives of the users, right? Then we are going to have a very special bonus type of thing that I have added in this discussion. We are going to dive deep. Importance of diving deep is something that I consider the most uh, important thing when you are exploring tech. And then we are going to move towards areas where you can drive yourself towards in software engineering, and the right exposure, how to get that, and some tips and tricks around that. So yeah, let's get started. So already a very detailed introduction of mine has been given. So thanks for that. But a very quick note, I am Soham from Ahmedabad, India. I'm currently building software at Marvin. It is a user research platform. It is a tool used by Microsoft, Razorpay, and a lot of good companies, and they are constantly striving to like bring the best for our customers. Previously, I have been LFX Linux Foundation mentee. I've also have been a fellow at MLH. Neoji Camp is a boot camp that I studied web development, and Quico is a company that I interned at. But yeah, Marvin is my blood and sweat goes there, and I build great things there. Apart from that, I am also very much active in open source world, not necessarily just by code, but also being able to answer people's questions, to take a look at code and like derive some solutions and alternatives to do XYZ. And there, like, yeah, I do love being active at open source. I love tech communities and web. Whenever there is a meetup going on in the city, I never miss a chance to attend that and give whatever I can give to the community. So let us start with a very small story, right? So we can understand why open source and all of those things are important. So we're going to start with a story. Yeah. So can anyone tell me who is this cute girl in chat? I would like to know. Okay. I'm not seeing any chats or something. I don't think I'm able to see that. But yeah, so this is Hermione from Harry Potter. So basically, what she thought one day. So the story goes like she thought to make a chat application, and then she starts coding. Uh, when she starts coding, she basically doesn't want this thing to be just for her friends. She made an app, a social messaging app, but then she realized that why to limit this to a group of people, and then she decided to make it globally available. So when you make a particular software, a tool, globally available, for example, Instagram is a social messaging platform, right? But what if you made your own version of Instagram and give it to your 10-15 friends and they are going to use it? Well, in that case, the complexity won't be that much. Agree or not, right? But when you are exposing a tool to different diversities, different areas of the world, there are going to be a lot of requests, a lot of uh, uh, problems, right, that you want to solve, a lot of complexities, right? So then what Hermione did, she went to her friends Harry and Ron. If you are Potterhead, you are going to understand what I'm saying. So she meets her two friends and tells them, okay, Harry, you are going to write front end, Ron, please write back end for me. I am going to stitch them up, do the DevOps stuff, and finally we are going to roll out our app. And what these three people make a wonderful web application. Yeah, that is it. They made it, right. They made with the help of team, and now this particular app is on the internet. Sounds interesting, right? But problem happens when there are a lot of bugs on the application, when there are a lot of feature requests, when there is a lot of traffic in the app, right? So you must have seen Instagram. There's some other day there is some bug, right? And then they fix it and all, right? But see, the problem is like, when you have a smaller team, it is very difficult to keep track of these bugs. And what problem happens is like your development time decreases if you're building a new feature and there are a lot of bugs coming in, bugs, errors, they are coming in. Then you don't get to spend enough time on the feature. Don't get to ship stuff, you don't get to design, and management is something that is out of range for you, right? You are already stuck in problems. So what she did, this is very important. Hermione made VizChat, her chat application, open source. This is what is a very important thing. What she did is like, she had the code in her laptop, right? But what she did, she made it available for the whole world. You can see the eye, right? It is now visible to the whole world. Anyone on the internet can see the code of VizChat. Now, this is, you might think it as a con, right? Why would I want to expose my code? Isn't that a security breach or something? No, it is not. Why? Because the pros are a lot. There is a lot of positive things that you can get if you make the code open source. So what happens is now, not just you are writing code, but everyone on the internet can write code for you, right? Everyone on the internet who thinks that this thing should be added, they will be, there are a lot of amazing people out there, right? Not just Hermione is the best developer, there must be a lot of great developers out there. And if they find this thing interesting, they can collaborate with Hermione and build together, right? They can make VizChat build together, but Hermione is still the owner of that project, right? She decides that I should add it or not. Not just she, everyone around togetherly makes that decision, right? So this is the beauty of open source. You can get a lot of hands on together and everyone is benefited. And the whole community is not run, this app is not run by one person. Currently, if you see, Instagram is not open source. You got it right. Open source is a code that you can see. Uh, you can see the code of. Okay, I just want to know a very quick thing. How many of you have like explored Git and open source and stuff? Can you raise hands? Okay, nice. Okay, so I think like everyone is a bit new, majorly new to this term. So are you everyone like getting what we are discussing? Like the whole point of our discussion. Are you folks able to grasp it? Okay, yeah. Please let me know if it is getting too quick or too slow. We have a lot of different content to cover, and we can do it as per our pace, right? Okay, so what Hermione did was to make VizChat
Yes.
open source. Yeah, thanks for acknowledgement. Now you can see this is the most important part of the open source. This has the terminology as well. Hermione is the admin of the project VizChat. Harry and Ron are the maintainers. They are driving the project further. They are also the decision makers. They are going to address all other folks comments. They are going to address do this or that. They are going to comment what the stuff Wizards of Hogwarts, right? So Wizards of Hogwarts are the contributors. They are going to tell this is not right, this is not right. Let me fix it. Let me add this part to your code base. Let me do this for you. I will be working on this. I will be doing that, this, that, this, that. These people are writing code. They are making features. Harry and Ron are majorly the tech leads or CTOs of this particular open source project. They are guiding people to move towards in a particular direction, right? So this is an amazing thing that I find about open source, as everyone is a part of it. So proper definition, if we see, open source software is a software with open source that source code that anyone can inspect, modify, or enhance. You must have heard of Python, React, C++, and like Ruby, Rust, a lot of different programming language. They are all developed in public. They are all like open source stuff. Chrome is open source, the browser that we use daily. What if I tell you that you can actually look into each and every line of code written to build this Chrome? What if you can look into each and every line of code that went into building the most successful operating system today, Linux, right? But you cannot see the lines of code of Windows or Microsoft or Microsoft Teams, for example, the platform that we're using. So, uh, so yeah, that is the thing. Yeah. So, okay. I actually have had a question, but I'm not sure how to ask and get replies from. Am I supposed to write it down here and then get replies that you can chat? Apurva, Hari, anyone can help me out with it?
Sir, actually, participants have the access to the chat box. Is it visible to you also?
Not really. I cannot see the chat box. Like, can you type anything? I'm not able to see anything written.
I'll send a message and see if it's visible. Yeah.
Yeah, it is not. That's why I thought like something is I'm missing. Uh, yeah, I think I don't have the right permissions because I've joined as a guest. So that's why you might have to give me some permissions to join.
Yes, sir. I'll just ask the team. Meanwhile, if somebody is writing something in the chat box, we'll convey it to you.
Yeah, that would be great because I want to make like this whole conversation a bit more proactive, right? I know it is difficult to speak or like, but in chat as well we can do it, right? So my question was like, if people can speak, like, do you know any open source softwares around you, like apart from what we mentioned? I want to know the whole idea and all. Name a few open source softwares that we use.
There are many, like the easy ones come to the mind first, like Python and all, and then there is Open Office. And also, if we think about advanced ones, the TensorFlow and all the deep learning frameworks and all, they are also open source.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. Any other examples? Yeah, Open Office is very good example. I remember in computer labs in my eighth grade, there used to be this Open Office thing, and I used to wonder why these people are not using the Microsoft Office. And then my lab teacher told me that Open Office is free and Microsoft Office is paid. So we are not giving you the paid version because the license costs a lot. So Open Office is the open source software. Why? Because it is free, right? It is available for everyone. It does not necessarily that every open source software is free, but at least it has some free component to it. So yeah, very good example, Apurva. Thanks for joining and asking, answering that question. Yeah, let us move forward. Sounds good. So yeah, but Soham, how is this thing you are saying open source a lot of times, but how is this connected to when I will be appearing for interviews, when I will be working at my day job? How is this going to help me out? Uh, how is this connected to software engineering? So why do you think like GitHub profiles and GitHub stuff is very important? Like, what is even the point of having these type of good, amazing clubs and communities at colleges that you are having? Why open source is important? This is very important question, right? So yeah, this is a fun meme. Criminals cannot use secret exploits in your code if your code isn't a secret. Like no one can steal your code because you're given that code to everyone. So this is the beauty of open source. Everyone can see everything, but they cannot change. Like they cannot attack, like modify it without correct permissions. So why to do open source? Before even deep diving, before even doing anything else, we should know the importance of open source. So today, tomorrow, anytime you are diving deep, we should know the importance of open source, right? Impact of open source, the first point is high. If you see, uh, a very simple example, if I'm taking React code, you must have heard React, which is a front end framework, front end library. Uh, it is being used by millions of people, millions of projects on GitHub, millions of thousands of companies in the world are using React to build products, right? In the end, we want to build products. So my 10 line, just 10 line of contribution, 10 line of code, 10 line of xyz readme or something, right? It can impact millions of people. Why? Because million people are using it. So your impact by your work becomes very important, right? So this is one great thing, that when you are doing open source, when you are caring about open source, these things matter a lot. Understanding real world software and approaches. So open source softwares definitely have to use the best sort of technologies, and have to be updated with the latest stuff. Why? Because there a lot of people are dependent on this particular project, this particular application. Like for example, if I'm making a project like for a food recipe, right, on GitHub, uh, and like just sharing it to someone. To be honest, if you see, the food recipe app is good, but it is not making like no one is dependent on this particular application, right? Like no one is using it for building their stuff. But in open source world, if I have a project called React, millions of people are using my particular product. So I need to be very particular about React being maintained, React being nurtured, React being growing at a particular direction, because that defines the direction of millions of projects, right? This is where open source has real world software approaches. So when you contribute to open source projects, when you try understanding the code of open source projects, you are able to get the latest out of it, right? Communication and collaborative skills, I think this is obvious, because you have to communicate what change you have made, why you think that this should happen, why you think this is not right, when you are contributing your piece to the open source world. Open source contribution are that simple. There is this big chunk of code, you think that this should be changed, or maybe they have listed that these are stuff that we want, and you are the one picking this item and trying to fix it. For example, there is an open source software called Signal. If you must have heard, when there was a very debate about WhatsApp, people were like Signal from India open source project that we are going to use. So it is a chat application like WhatsApp. It is very good app, to be honest. But so what happens is, like, for example, they have given one uh, one issue. Like, you can actually, let us go to Signal. You are able to see my browser screen, right? Okay, my Canva is only shared. Okay. Yeah, sorry. Let me share. Yeah. You are able to see the Signal app screen. Please acknowledge.
Yes.
Yes, it's visible.
So, like, anyone who has heard of Signal before, this used to be a talk in town. Okay, no worries. It is a private messenger. It is a WhatsApp, like, but open source WhatsApp. So you can see, like, I just want to show you, like, how this, because many of us are not very acquainted with open source. So you can see, like, there are a lot of issues listed. So you can see that difficult to scroll on long stories. Let us go here, and this person has described this. So this is where our communication thing comes in. You are telling the Signal people that, see, I have ticked these things, and what is my description on long stories? I can only scroll a bit. Like, it is having some problem with scrolling, right? So they have also put screenshots. They have also put video, right? So this is this is what has been acknowledged by the Signal team, that yeah, what you are saying is correct. And then after that, what will happen, someone from the team or someone from the world will pick this particular issue up and they will fix it, and then they will be creating a pull request. So pull request is pushing your code to the Signal main code base, and it will be pulled by the maintainers of the project, and your code will be a part of Signal now. So you can see, like, a lot of bugs has been fixed, and their PRs has been created. PR is pull request, and you can see, like, what files have changed, what things that they have changed. Yeah. So yeah, this is like a small example I wanted to give. Not just bookish stuff, we also know practical stuff. And this is what, like, if you actually start running and understanding the code base, you will be understanding a lot of new technologies, a lot of new approaches, and this is how you become a good software engineer, right? So yeah, let us come back where we were. So there are a lot of opportunities as well in open source. See, job opportunities are there, of course. Whenever you are at an interview, you say that you contribute to open source, you have these open source contributions. Job people, the person who is taking our job knows that this guy or a girl has the ability to do great stuff. Then also it strengthens our portfolio. So these are like obvious things. You are going to do it when you'll be hunting for jobs. But my highlight to give you is, there are a lot of opportunities in the open source world as well. Google Summer of Code, LFX, Outreach, GSORD, GSOC, uh, MLH fellowship, and a lot more, right? So be aware of that, understand the whole flow, how they work, and then, yeah, let us dive deep. Talk is cheap, show me the code. We are not going to have live coding, unfortunately, today, because we want to discuss more stuff rather than doing basic stuff. I am sure you are going to be doing Git add and all from the world of YouTube. You can watch the tutorials and understand how to do Git stuff. But our target is, yeah, like, just to wait and yeah, let us actually try to understand Git and GitHub. So difference between Git and GitHub is very, like, sort of uh, difficult for people to understand. Like, they think that they are the same things, or some people think that they are very different. No, actually, Git is something that lives on your local machine. When you write code, you have stuff going on, and GitHub is a place where you put your code, you dump your code, you push your code to a cloud place. GitHub is basically a cloud storage, nothing else for code, right? It has all the stuff that Git does on your local, and GitHub does that for you on the internet. So anyone, you are anywhere in the world, you are even in Antarctica, you want to push one last thing before you die, you can do it on GitHub from there, right? So this is the beauty of GitHub, and anyone can see, anyone can understand your code, and they can basically contribute to our projects. Everything that happens in today in the world of software engineering happens on GitHub, right? Apart from that, there are also some other things like Bitbucket or AWS storage and stuff. But yeah, GitHub is the most popular open source place to be. Yeah, you don't deserve to be called a software developer if you don't know Git and GitHub. So this is why it is super important. What is version control? Some Git commands, pushing your code to the internet, and why GitHub is a real portfolio of developer. This is what you will understand when you start pushing things to GitHub, right? So version control, I want to throw some small light towards version control. Is that version control is something like I wrote 10 lines of code today. I made uh, I made what did I make? Yeah, I made a chat application, right? Let us go with chat, right? I made a chat application. Now tomorrow I want to change it. uh, so basically I already have a chat application. I coded it yesterday, and today I added a feature for integrating AI to it. So basically I will get suggestions to sort of with AI, right? Now what happened? I pushed this code, and everyone on the internet are able to see this AI stuff. But then what happened is, like, I realized that this feature is not getting enough traction. There's some problem. I need to dive deep into this before I roll out for everyone. So I can also roll back, like I can go to previous version of my product without that AI which I added today. I can go to yesterday. It is like time traveling to previous step, right? So I can also do that with Git. Version control is the name of that. Version control is you can control your versions. You have n versions. There is version 1, version 2, version 3. You must have heard of Android versions, right? There is like different like Android versions, and you can actually download a particular Android version as well. So this is why Git is very cool thing to know. Yeah, let's lights camera dive. We have talked a lot, but before we dive, I want to know, like, I want to get uh, some some insights from you guys. Are you folks able to get it, or like any questions or something that you want to possibly ask about GitHub on Git?
I suppose there are no questions from the audience.
Okay, okay, sure. Yeah. So yeah, let us let us dive deep. But before we do that, have you heard this popular debate on the internet about either we should do data structures and algorithm, or I should do development and make projects? Have you guys heard of this debate? Have you ever come across this thing, and you're always confused, like, shall I join this open source stuff? Shall I join these, like, these things like these, or I should sit on lead code all day and get my basics clear? I want to understand data structures. I'm going to do code forces and a lot different stuff on internet. What do you think? You must have heard these things, right? And these are pretty much confusing most of the time, right? And there's a section of society, section of developer society, who say don't do DSA, just do development, because development is going something that you are going to do at job, right? When you get a job, you are going to build products or services, right? And there's some people that they say that DSA is the heart of software engineering, so development can be learned easily without doing anything, but data structures is going to get you a job because interviews ask data structure. This is what we are going to conquer today. Let's end this debate today. And yeah, let us understand Git behind the scenes. So this is like a bonus thing that I've added, considering that we are all uh, getting into the world of software engineering, and Git is something that we do or we will be using on day-to-day basis, so we should know how Git works. I hope you are excited to learn this, to know about this. I am a bit skeptical if we exceed the time by 5-10 or so minutes, but I think it will be good for you. So you must have heard about PRD, right? PRD, no, I think you might not. So PRD is product requirements document, right? This is a term used in a lot of product management stuff. Product requirements document has some requirements that a product should have, right? So Git here is our product that a lot of people are going to use. So what things you want in this product that that are going to solve problems, right? So we first thing that we want is we want to track our changes. We want to track what things changed throughout. Like I added AI today. Tomorrow I will be adding audio feature. Day after tomorrow I will be adding ability to download my chats, and then I'm going to revert some changes, add few more changes. Like if you see Instagram today has search feature, right? You can search your previous conversation, and otherwise it was not possible. You just have to scroll, right? This is a one amazing feature that has been added by Instagram. So these are like changes that has happened over time. Create branches. This is very important. In GitHub or and in open source world, we really need branches. But why? Because we have like a huge code base, and then we have n number of people working on it. Say 10 people working on it, and 10 people are building. Each of them are building a feature, right? One is adding chat feature. One person is adding uh, say notifications feature. One person is adding post feature. One person is adding image upload feature. One person is also fixing bugs, right? The other one is writing a documentation, detailed documentation about how technology works. Other person is handling deployments. A lot of people are doing a lot of things, and the problem is how we are going to manage all of those changes happening in different timelines to get merged into one single piece of code, right? So for that, we need to branch the ocean into different rivers, and those rivers finally meet the ocean. This is what we basically do in Git. Git helps us do that, right? Easy experimentation and feature based approach. Yeah, this is super important. Like everything is feature based. So, and that is the point of branches, right? Where we should be able to report our changes, and there should be a role based system. Role based system, by that I mean that not everyone should be allowed to push to the main branch, like the where the whole main code base resides. Not everyone should be able to have access to push and merge code, right? You will be actually like dealing with these things when you will be actually doing open source, when you will start contributing. So yeah, at that time it will be more relevant. But yeah, my whole point to explain in a very short way is what happens inside Git, like how these branches are created, how the commands like git add, git commit, and all of those work, right? So we are going to understand that. So the Git, uh, what Git does is like I have a project, and in that project I have .git directory. This Git directory stores three things. What are those three things? There are blobs. Blobs basically store the data. They have the whole data that you tell Git to uh, like collect and push, right? So Git Git is basically a repo. Uh, it is basically a storage space where you can put in different objects, right? Items, right? So those items are called blobs, right? Now the thing is, at different timelines, at different points of time, different types of item can be put in inside this particular box called Git. So we have tree objects. What are tree objects? Is basically pointers to these data items. For example, if I added a text file, so a pointer will be attaching to tree. Tree object pointer will be attached to this text file. If we have sort of a different type of video file, there will be another pointer pointing towards that. So you must have like recalling the thing called linked list, right? You must be recalling something called trees. You must be recalling a data structure called graphs, right? So these are coming into picture when you dive deep, when you go inside and explore the behind the scenes of anything, right? So yeah, and then we have commit objects. So commit objects are sort of a milestones. Like I completed this part of thing, and I have added a flag to it. Okay, this till this I have done this thing. I am telling that I have completed the chat application. Okay, next I made a lot of changes and I added another flag. So these are commit objects. They store the commits to the whole storage, whole stored repository that we have. And this particular repository, when it is pushed to GitHub, it becomes our project and people can use it altogether. So this is like the gist of it. We can go into seeing like what happens is, for example, when we have a name.txt, when you do git init to this particular type of folder structure project, what happens is it adds a .git directory, and it has different objects, right? What are objects? We discussed that there are blobs, there are tree objects and all. But when we do git init, it is empty. .git is empty. It has nothing but just some metadata stuff that Git has for its own reference. But yeah, when you do .git init command, .git directory is being created. It has no data, nothing, right? Then what happens? We do git add data slash name.txt. Data slash name.txt is the path, uh, right? You want to add this name.txt to your git box. There's a box, you want to add name.txt. So what happens is what we discussed, a blob object. Now here another term, object is also data structure. Focusing on the data structure part. Don't worry if you don't understand a lot of things. Just focus on what you can try to get it. If you have any questions, please ask me. I will be willing to answer. And basically, this contains the contents of the file, right? So name.txt, we want to store this file, but how this file will be stored, right? This file could be anything. So how do I store this file into my blob? This file is actually converted into a blob object that uses hashing, that uses different algorithms to convert this txt file into a blob object. Just imagine the complexity that must have gone into while building this thing, right? A lot of depth of data structure and algorithm is required in this, right? And this file is added to index. This is a different directory in .git that stores the references of this particular files that we add, right? There is name.txt, that is something else, and they are being referenced in this index directory, right? So what if I want to add more files? How to do that? So So you can see I add age.txt. What happens is when I do git add data, everything inside data will be added. You must have done, if you have done git, you must have done git add dot. So dot specifies everything that we have in staging, every change that you have made, put it in the box, right? This is also a very cool thing. We do commands every day, but we don't know sometimes, right? So you can see data in age.txt, but what is inside git? So inside git we have 2e, 65, 70. What are these numbers? What are these numbers? These numbers are hashed stuff. 2e represents date. 2e represents basically the data. 65 represents name.txt. 74 represents age.txt. And if you and this is how they are stored in index, right? So name dot this whole path is called 2e65. I just like these are just examples. These hashes are very long. They're literally very long. So you can see how this particular path is being stored as index, right? So it is stored as 2e65. What 2e65 means? 2 is data slash 65 is name.txt, right? It is stored in this way. Yeah, this is the beauty of data structures and algorithm. This is the beauty of the development that goes. A lot of people must have taken these decisions, right? So yeah, let's move to next very small thing. What will happen if I update a file? So when I update a file, the pointer changes and nothing else, right? There is a log always is being maintained. For example, if I update this particular name.txt, then there will be another file added in this index, but the other are already stored, and with the help of tree object we are always pointing to the latest, but we can definitely revert back whenever we want. Okay, this is the idea. Now we can also commit the code. So what is the difference between adding and committing? Is adding is actually like make putting things inside a box. Commit is packing the box. Commit is packing the box, writing the message and shipping in the truck, right? What happens at the industries? You have a box, you put stuff inside, you pack it, you write the serial number and put it in the truck to deliver it, right? This is what happens in git commit with the message called initial commit. Because we are doing it for the first time, tree graph object has blob objects and tree objects, right? So this thing is being created. Let us not go into a lot of depth, but yeah, so here also the pointers concept is being used. So you can see like the branch points to initial commit, which is the commit message, and then it goes into like it points, like everything is a pointer, and it points to the name contents of the name.txt and contents of the age.txt, right? Now if I make another commit with of change age, like this is a different commit, what happens is like only the changed thing, like my 21 become 22, so that thing is there, but Harry, which remains the same, the name.txt remains the same. So it is still being pointed at the same place. You're not creating another thing at home. So this is what is the beauty of graphs. Like there's a difference of graph has been calculated, that this particular part has been changed, and this is the same. So the same is being utilized again without causing a lot of memory change. This won't like seem a huge in this particular example, but what if like we have hundreds of files and hundreds of changes as well? How these things must be calculated? So for that we need optimized stuff, right? Yeah, so we have seen a lot of things, and now I think like we are all tired of listening to all those theories and understanding, but I'm here to make a point very clear that don't be into these debates. From this example, you must have understood that data structures empowers the development, and development is all about using those data structures to build stuff. So don't fall for being at any either side, right? Don't do just open source and telling that I will get a job with open source, or on the other side, don't say that I won't do open source, I won't do any projects, I'll just do DSA and get the job. Don't be like that. Be very clear about what the software engineering works. Ask people, and then do both of them. My point is that do both of them, understand both of them, and focus on your strengths, where you are good at, and do what is the best for you. So areas in software engineering, yeah, I am warning, these are my views, my personal views from my career experiences, from my internships, my job experiences, and the open source things that I have explored. So I think that this topic, areas in software engineering, itself is wrong, right? Why? Because my personal aim, like, we are not in the utopian world, right? We all want to go out and earn our daily bread, right? I am like doing a job, of course I'm enjoying it, but I also do that for money, right? We all know that, right? So the point is, we want to excel in this career, we want to be the best of our kind, to satisfy my both needs, to satisfy my development, powerful skills, passion to build products, and also I should be compensated well according to my skills. So we don't need to fall for cool stuff. I used to be a victim of that. I used to think that blockchain or cybersecurity or AI and different types of buzzwords in the market, we just do kind of start doing that only and miss the fundamentals. And on the internet, everywhere, you will be told that this is the future, this is the scope, this is what you should do. They are selling your courses, their courses, and you are being sold to them. They're selling that AI course. They're telling that how to use ChatGPT effectively. No, right? ChatGPT is a tool that I will learn on my own. I don't need to pay a lot of things and get a lot of money to. Of course, if you're passionate about, I don't mind, but I think that don't consider these learnings like these dopamine hitting cool stuff as a part of your growth. Measure your growth in alignment to the market, in alignment to the software engineering world, in alignment to what you can build with that and what actually helps people, right? I'm not saying that cybersecurity is bad. Of course it is amazing field. It is helping a lot of companies be secure in terms of security, right? Information security and all. It is not bad. Blockchain is going to be the best thing in a couple of years, but I'm telling that don't fall for these things and just do the basic crypts of that and tell yourself that you are a blockchain developer or I'm an AI developer, I'm going to be all in AI, um, and things like that. My point is, dive deep and choose what is best for you, best skills that are syncing with the market. So yeah, and most importantly, upskill according to industry demands. So the industry demands, understanding that is very important. uh, Industry today doesn't demand a PHP developer. That is the truth by numbers. Industry doesn't demand a WordPress developer today as much as they demand a React developer, as much as they demand Vue developer, as much as they demand uh, Python developer or expert in TensorFlow, right? These things are being demanded as much as like data science people, right? Industry demands them. Industry doesn't demand the outdated, and also industry doesn't demand too much ahead of time. For example, metaverse stuff. So currently, if you're graduating today, I mean, in this or next year, you should be not seeing too much far-fetched. Like, I joined my first company as a metaverse engineer product, and that company shut down. Okay, so I was very broken. Like, I thought that doing doing the futuristic stuff is going to be amazing. Of course, the development part was good, but Currently the industry doesn't have enough money to invest, or enough resources as well in terms of technology to have the metaverse thing there. Facebook is working on a lot of time, right? But they have not cracked it till now. They will, surely will, yeah. And we are here to embrace the change. But yeah, this is what I want to make the point. And so let me tell you the core fields. So core fields are never going to be out of style. Uh, like the front end engineering, right? In any app with anything, you need a front end stuff. You need back end, of course. There's a full stack development which combines multiple spectra of roles, and you are able to do that. DevOps and site reliability. This field came into existence because of cloud, right? Now we have everything on cloud, and it is still the hottest field around, right? DevOps and cloud is something, if you learn and if you're really good at it, you can do wonders in that area. Software development engineer SD role is like literally a role where you can do anything and everything, right? Being fact flexible, it is what I want to tell. Machine learning and data science engineer, this is also a great field. Yeah, and there are some cool fields, right? These cool field doesn't mean that they don't have potential. They don't, like, they are bad or something. Please don't get me wrong. I just want to make a point that you can be be a software development engineer and do robotics. You can be a full stack developer and do IoT. You can be a front end engineer and do cyber security. It is not like you need to be cyber security engineer to do cyber security. This is what I want to tell. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be an automobile engineer, but today when I realize even being a software engineer, I can do automobile stuff. Like automobile companies want embedded systems engineer, right? So coding, like, you don't need to be exactly that. You can just find your way through and be at that particular place and get your passion covered, right? This is what I want to share with you. Yeah. And everything that the world markets to you, right? World is all about marketing. The industry is going to market. The YouTube ads are going to push these things in your head that these are the only things that are going to get you money. These are the only things that are getting you a job. But you need to go on LinkedIn, you need to go on Twitter, you need to go on peer list or platforms to see what the companies are telling it, what they want. Look into the startups, your story or Crunchbase, and see their job openings, right? You will see that what this company wants from you, and based on their wants, you need to also shape yourself enough to be at a particular place. If you're doing a startup, same thing. See the market, see the users, and build accordingly, hire accordingly, right? And fundamentals never go out of style. You this Git, right? It is a so old technology, but still, if you are very good with Git, you are going to do great at your workspace, right? Graphs and trees, they are so I mean, they are so old, right? They have originated when computer science originated, right? And today also we use them. I was doing open source at uh, there's a company called Deep Lake. So uh, Active Low API, right? So they made their own Git implementation. How cool is that, right? They made their own Git implementation at their place for their product, right? So yeah, the fundamentals never go out of style. This is what I wanted to convey from areas in software engineering. uh, and how to get right exposure. Very quick tips around that: be active on social media, join clubs, like how you guys are already doing, but bring more people, and like motivate people, help people, and spread right awareness. Don't be afraid to tell that I attended this workshop and I am doing this. I'm stuck at this. I'm doing XYZ. Just put it on social media. Not saying you to make reels. Not getting into Instagram fakeism or something. I'm telling social media as in like LinkedIn, Twitter, and peer list. Twitter as well. No need to go into the communal riot stuff. We want to be in the tech community, follow right people from tech, and get the right exposure. Uh, yeah, developer communities and join and build developer communities. Yeah, that is what I want to say. Yeah, so so these are like different clubs, uh, and yeah, feel free to connect with me. I was at Adani College, so I prepared this slide 4 years back, and I think this is not relevant a lot because you guys are already having stuff. But yeah, there are a lot of clubs around it. So yeah, feel free to connect with me on Twitter. You can reach out to me anytime at Soham S underscore. On Instagram as well if you feel so. This is my handles. You can take a note of them and let's connect. If you have any doubts, questions, feel free to ask. Let's have the quick Q&A.
Thank you so much, Soham. We actually received some questions from the participants. So Anas, he's asking, how do I start contributing to open source? Do I start with a project of mine, or work on an existing project? And from that point onwards, how do I keep improving?
Yeah, good question. So your project that you are making, uh, that that is good enough for understanding GitHub, and also help like if you have some friends, ask them to contribute to your project. So in this way you will be able to understand how this whole flow works. But if you really want to get into open source, the best idea is to contribute to some other projects online, right? So there is like Girl Script Summer of Code. There must be also different like Summer of Codes and Winter of Codes going on. Participate in those. They are good place for you to start open source contributions, because they have some listed good projects where you can contribute, start contributing based on your skill set. So yeah, of course, I would say contributing to a different project than yours is great thing. And do that, like for example, you are good at Python, so find Python projects. For I can actually show how I used to do. Uh, my screen is visible, right? Uh,
Yeah, it is visible.
Searching. So if you search for Python, not here, we should actually search. So you can see like there are trending repositories, and you can actually filter them by, for example, if you're a Python developer, you can see like these are so many repositories. These are open source repositories. Isn't it super, right? You can just click on this. It that removes images background, right? This is something that I always want, and I never get a free tool for doing that. So you can see like this is an open source tool to do that, right? What it does, like it converts it into this. Now what I do, I go into issues, and then I go here. uh, I want this person has told this thing, and then you sort of like try telling that I will do that, and like work on your thing. And also this open source of repo has there's this contributing.md file. Most of them do, or else they have guidelines. They have some guidelines how to use this particular and how to make changes. So by reading this readme file, you'll be able to do that. Like they have some tutorials and things like that. So this is my way of I used to do that in this way. Oh, oops, yeah, I opened a new tab. Sorry. You can see this screen, right? This is the repo I was showing. It removes background from images. So yeah, this is how you can start. You can read the readme file and understand how to set up on your local, and start with issues, and find the issue that fits your thing well. And yeah, yeah,
Thank you so
this is
much.
how it is.
And there's one more question from Gayatri. She just wants to know that what are the different job roles available under software development?
Hmm. uh, uh, yeah, so I think like I should know, like, yeah, let me share my screen. Would be better. Yeah, so I mentioned some core fields, right? So if you see, front end development roles and back end development roles, these are like most common roles that you come across, and for that you need to be expert in one or the other tech, right? You need to be good at Python, you need to be good at React. Like, this is how it works. So take a language or a framework, build projects, and move forward. So software engineering has a lot of fields, to be honest, but I personally find front end and back end development most common fields. But not to mention cloud, machine learning, data science, and all of those fields are also amazing. But yeah, this is like, I think that you can just pick a language or a tool, I mean a language or a framework, and start making projects, start playing around with it, and then start diving into that particular language and what things you can do with that. For example, if I am getting good at Python, then I will then later on I will try to understand how Python works. What are the lesser known or in-depth stuff about Python. So yeah, this is how you should proceed.
Thank you so much. I think that was all from the participant side. So, first of all, I would like to thank you for joining us and spending your precious time with us. And the session was really informative, especially the storytelling style of understanding things, and also the real time, the real life scenarios which you explained to us, like in college, be it second year or third year, there are people like that, especially the point which you figured out, that should we go towards competitive coding or project development.
Hmm.
I think it actually helped us a lot, and you helped us, you guided us really well. Thank you so much for joining us. And on behalf of the entire team, I extend my heartfelt gratitude for joining us today. uh, in this online technical podcast of the TechCast series. We are thrilled to have had the opportunity to bring together tech enthusiasts from all walks of life to celebrate the wonders of open source technology. First and foremost, we had two wonderful speakers today. Their expertise, insights, and passion for open source have truly enlightened and inspired us and all. Actually, your valuable contributions have made this podcast a truly enriching experience. Next, I would like to thank every participant. Your presence and engagement have made this podcast more special. And again, I was Apurva from Open Source Community at VIT-AP. I would like to thank on behalf of the entire open source community for making this podcast a success. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.